Oh my God, that's so creepy.
Yep. Okay. Welcome to the August meeting of koha-US, the general meeting. Today we will just get started with announcements. The most exciting thing that's happening is the conference next month in McKinney, Texas. We have the schedule up on the koha-US.org website. There's information on housing, there's information on activities. Pretty much, I think anything that you need to know should be available there. If you've got other questions, let us know. There is merchandise available, but nobody is going to have a shirt as cool as mine because mine is a one and only misprint. Yes. So, but you can get your Koha apparel. And if you can figure out what's wrong with my shirt, I'll give you a cookie at the conference. Yeah, get your stuff. Probably want to order pretty soon if you actually want to have it for the conference. And
I'll jump in and say that there is free shipping right now through the 22nd of August. So it's a good time to get in there and get some stuff. I put the coupon code in the agenda, but you can also see it when you visit the site. Okay. And then backing up to the September general meeting, I wanted to make sure everybody was aware that that's taking place at the conference. So you'll see that on the schedule rather than our regularly scheduled time right now. It's at a different time. And then for the most part, the SIGs are all going to take place at the conference as well. I think, Heather, we talked at the cataloging SIG, they're still going to have their regularly scheduled meeting and then also meet at the conference. But the rest of the SIGs, as far as I know, are only meeting at the conference next month. So that's just a heads up.
Yep. Okay.
I have a question. How long are the room bookings available? Are the blocks of rooms, if people haven't booked yet? I think that the Grand was only going to be bookable through a month out, which is fast approaching. And it's not listed on the website. So we can
I don't
talk
think
about
anybody from McKinney is here to answer that question.
No, we can talk about it at the conference committee meeting, but if you haven't booked yet and you're planning on it, you might want to do it this week, and then we can send out an email after the conference meeting with the updated information.
Yes. Okay. All right. Ooh, I lost my agenda. Okay, so are there any other announcements? Okay, then the next item on the agenda is mentorship. I'm guessing this is an education committee thing. We talked a little bit about it last month. You know, ways to connect mentors and mentees. And I think, Jason, you had worked up something.
So yeah, so we do have the mentorship group together now. If you registered to be a mentor or a mentee, when you signed up for membership, you should have gotten a notification that you were added to the mentors group. I don't believe it's had any activity yet. So I wanted to take this meeting to encourage our mentors who are present to go ahead and send a little email to that list and let everybody know who you are, where you're from, what kind of library you're at, and then what your areas of expertise are, so that the mentees in the group can look at that and see, make points of contact. Like they can go shopping for a mentor if they want, The group is also available just for everybody, mentors and mentees, to have like a discussion area. So you don't have to feel bad about sending emails to that and bothering people, because that's what it's there for. So if you have questions about that or you're confused, feel free to reach out to me or the education committee and we can clarify on that. So that was kind of our first step in reorganizing and relaunching Mentorship 2.0. And I think we're working on some other things that to help out both the mentors and mentees, to make that a more full perk of being a member.
Okay. Any questions now about mentorship?
Oh, one other thing, if you don't know your mentorship, mentee status, or if you're a member and didn't sign up for one of those things but want to be added to the group, just let us know, and we will get you added.
All right. Then we will move on to committee reports. So the conference committee, we met a couple times last month, and we've worked out most of the details. You've got exciting swag coming your way, so you gotta make sure you register to get that exciting swag. And we did have one question before you popped on. Is there a time limit when they will afford the Grand Hotel where they're going to release the block?
Yes, there is, and we're beginning to approach that. I don't know if those details off the top of my head. I can get them before the next conference committee meeting, but not by the end of this meeting.
Okay. All right. So yeah, you do want to get in there to get the block stuff. So I am not thinking of anything new, just encourage everybody to register. If you aren't comfortable meeting in person, we're going to be holding a virtual conference. It's going to be a hybrid conference, so you can join virtually or you can be there in person. Again, I really encourage you, if you can, to come all 4 days. The first 2 days will be presentations. The second 2 days is, when the SIGs will meet, when there'll be, hands-on kinds of training things. Just a lot of, you can connect with people and ask questions and, sit off in a corner with somebody and discuss whatever you need to about, ways to solve different problems, how to use different functions. So that's a great time to make connections and learn new things too. So if you can make it for all 4 days, that's fantastic. Let's see. Yeah, registration. I'm not sure how many people have registered, each way. There was, what did John say? There was a ratio, was it 1 to 1 or 2 to 1?
It was 2 to 1 the last
2 to
time
1.
I reported at the board meeting. Currently, let's see, we have, and this excludes the host institution of McKinney. We currently have 19 registered for the on-site and a total of 56. So we're still running about 2 to 1 online versus in person. Again, excluding the case of participants coming from McKinney itself.
Okay. All right. So whatever you're comfortable with, but definitely join us. There's great opportunities to hear about what people are doing with Koha, and yeah, it'll be fun. So any questions about the conference? If you have, Jesse?
Some vendors have asked about attending or coming or sponsoring lunch. And maybe this will be covered at the conference committee meeting, but like, are y'all extending anything out to vendors?
We have been talking about it, and we will talk about it I've got it on the list of things to talk about at the next meeting, at the conference meeting, which will meet right immediately after this.
Okay.
So if you want to stay and join us there, that's fine.
Okay, I do have to jump on another call right after this one, but I'll try and follow up afterwards just to see what y'all.
Okay.
Thanks, Rhonda.
Yeah. Yeah, Greg.
Are we looking at mask mandates or vaccine mandates for in-person attendance for this?
We hadn't discussed that because the last time we met, the numbers were still going down. Now they're going back up again. So I don't know what McKinney, what McKinney has for their rules for their library. I'm thinking it's not mandated because it's in Texas. And our lovely governor won't let us mandate things. But I think we will talk about that at the meeting and let everybody know. If people are more comfortable, with a mandated mask and showing up in person, I personally would be willing to do the mandate just to get more people there. I don't know what other people feel about that, but and if you're traveling any kind of distance, personally, this is not President talking, this is Rhonda talking, I would encourage you to get the vaccine if you're going to be traveling. Definitely. So, but we'll talk about that at the conference committee meeting and let everybody know. Okay. Other questions about the conference? And I just want to say, if you registered in person and when it comes right down to it, you're just not comfortable, you can switch your register, you can just attend online, whatever. We're not going to be, hard-nosed about that. Especially if you're a presenter, we can cover you. We've got the facilities to do both virtual presentations and in-person presentations. So do what you're comfortable with. You best, so do that. Any other question? Ed, Fred, sorry.
Not exactly a question, just a comment that I'll probably send you a couple of videos, and it's not going to be along lines of where Koha shouldn't go, just where it isn't doing much. I hasn't been there that often, but yeah, I probably can't leave Maryland. And my employer at the hospital really doesn't like me traveling.
Yeah. Well, we hope you will join us virtually. That would be fantastic. And totally understand not being able to travel right now.
Yeah, but I'm still annoyed.
Yeah.
Wish I could be there.
Mhm. Yes, we will miss you, Fred. Your presence will be missed.
I'll have the chicken along with me for the video.
Okay, all right. Small. All right. Any other questions about the conference? Okay. Then we have the Development Committee report. Barbara.
Not a lot of new things to report. We had to reschedule this month's meeting, which would have been Friday, but it's now going to be this Friday. So we haven't had another meeting yet. But where we stand is we have a signed contract for development with Auto Parallel Technologies. And the bug that they're going to be working on is 12029. And it's patron message deletion. So when the patrons in the OPAC, they have the ability to delete a message in their account. And that's about where we stand right now.
Okay. Questions for the Development Committee?
I have asked in the bug that part of the development be an ability to turn it on or off to find a way to disable it, because there are many of our libraries that don't want patrons to be able to just delete messages, or that aren't going to want patrons to have the ability to delete messages. So.
Okay. Yeah. And we did share that with the developer too. Other questions about the Development Committee? Okay. Then we'll move on to Education Committee. The biggest thing to announce at this point is there is no chairperson for that committee. So I can do a random number generator and pick the person on my screen that gets to win. Or somebody can volunteer to do that.
Are you trying to get people to drop out of this meeting?
No, not really. Yeah, see, when you turn your video off, you move to a different spot. So then that rearranges everything. So who knows where it would land? It would be really random that way. Yeah. Oh dear, they're all moving all over the place now. Okay. So seriously though, we do need yeah, Fred's got his hands over. We do need a chairperson. Oops, hang on 1 second. For the Education Committee. And if you are interested in that, you can contact anybody on the board, myself, Barbara, Jason, John, Bob, Elaine. Where are we all? I'm trying to follow them along. And let us know, and we can give you more information and get you set up to be the chair of the committee. The committees meet once a month. You would get to, lead the monthly meetings, and just work with the other people. I mean, it's a team thing, so it's not onerous to be the chairperson. You just would need to come to the or have a representative come to these general meetings and share what your committee is doing. So think about that. if you know somebody that isn't on this call today that you think would be, might be interested, let them know. But right now, what we talked about with the mentorship, that was an education committee initiative. They're doing training stuff. George and Christopher's training is kind of associated with them. Every other Thursday videos. And also, what do you call the written out things that you're developing? The
Reference guides? Reference guides?
Yes. Yes. Creating reference guides for different functions within Koha too. So lots of exciting things going on there. So it'd be a great time to join that. Oh, there, Jason's got an example for us of a reference guide. So, yay. So, yeah, think about it and contact any of the board members if you're interested in that position. Anything else from a member of the education committee? The education committee is not folding or anything like that without a member. The current members are just trying to keep things going, but it would be great to have a chairperson, a point person to lead that committee. Questions for the education committee? You can send your willingness to be the chair of the education committee to info@koha, or is it koha-US.org, and we will get you hooked up. All right, finance committee. John's here somewhere. There, John.
Good morning, everyone. Still kind of slow going on in the finance committee, mostly because registration for the conference has really only been open a month, and we really haven't started to incur any expenses yet. The organization still remains financially viable, and as of the end of July, we had 49 members. I believe the final count of full year members was 43, and as expected, there's been a slight increase in interest in half-year memberships with the opening of conference registration, and the fact that joining the group, if you are registering for the in-person conference, actually saves you money. This was something that we did back in Pueblo. We carried that forward this year, and it seems to be working. We've increased our membership numbers to the count of 6, and that was as of the end of July. It might even be 1 or 2 members higher right now. I can't remember for sure. So still not a whole lot of activity, but things will start hitting. I have not yet been billed for the lanyards, interestingly enough, even though they've been sent and Ed actually has received them. That's a note for me to actually see why I haven't been billed yet, because I actually hadn't thought about it until just now. Moving on to other things for the conference committee. This is the final report for the spring event that was graciously sponsored by Bywater Solutions. We did receive that final $91.50 that was held in reserve as part of the run sign-up formula. Total, there were 69 participants in the event, and between registrations and additional donations, we received $1,790 through the event. Thank you again to Bywater Solutions for its support of this effort, for the funds we were allowed to raise through it, and for allowing us the administrative support of the run sign-up site, which was used to administer everything, as well as for the nice prizes. If you registered and you kept everything going, you will have already received a nice medal and t-shirt as part of that, and Bywater Solutions picked up the tab on those as well as their mailing too. So thank you again to Bywater for its support. I've already talked, and we've already talked about conference registrations. For those of you that are coming in person, I'm reviewing the conference registrations about once a week. Like most things in the organization, matching up registrations and memberships is still being done manually, and I don't get a chance to do it every day. I believe I've contacted everybody that signed up for the in-person event except one person, and they actually just registered yesterday. If you think you've registered and you haven't heard from me yet, and you registered more than just a couple of days ago, please let me know, treasurer@koha-US.org, and I'll check into it and see what's going on. It's time for the quarterly report covering the period August through June. Again, this is just a summary of the last 3 months, and the last 3 months, not a whole lot has really gone on. Most of the income has been related to the Run Sign Up event. And not all of that money is reflected in here because that final $91.50 didn't actually hit the checking account until July 3rd. So that last little bit will be reflected in that. We did receive our ALA Exhibition Hall refund. That is classed as a negative expense and went directly back into the discretionary coffers of the organization upon previous decision of the board. And that really was the most activity that the organization had outside of the donation event and the refund of ALA. It's really been kind of quiet with only $44.12 of expenses and $1,800 of income, most of that related to the event. Are there any questions about this month's finance report or the quarterly report? There are no questions. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, John. As always, very helpful information. Okay, so the last committee is the Fundraising Committee. This one, again, does not have a chairperson. So if you are interested in chairing the Fundraising Committee, same stuff holds true. Contact any of the board members. We'll get you set up for that. And that's about all I know about that. I don't think the Fundraising Committee is actually meeting right now without a chairperson. Okay. So those are all the committee reports. Any questions that any of these reports triggered in your minds? Okay. All right, then we will move on to open discussion. And for, I guess this is for libraries supported by Bywater. The next upgrade is going to be a double upgrade, 2011 and 2105. Just for your information. Is there...
I'm wondering if anybody from Bywater here knows exactly when that'll start happening.
October, November.
Okay.
Perfect, thank you.
All right. Is there, are there any other topics that we want to discuss? It could be bugs that you've been working on, issues, cool things that you figured out, anything.
Yesterday was the Bywater did their bug squashing event. It was really great. Gosh, Kelly signed off 6 bugs, I think, in 2 hours, which was really good. And everything didn't go smoothly either. Like there were also problems. And I know like I signed off on a couple as well during that time. And I know Barbara was working on some as well. So we got a lot signed off, and it was nice. And it's a great, if you are interested at all in talking about bugs or even just commenting on stuff, they did a great overview of like the whole process and what it looks like and why it's helpful for people to comment on bugs, even if they're not comfortable doing like sign-offs. Although also sign-offs are way easier than you think with the sandboxes. You don't have to have like Linux experience to do it. And it's a great way to get the things that you're interested in to keep them moving.
Yeah, that was great, because like the example of the bug where Nick had made a change and Barbara was the one who had submitted it. And she was like, no, that's not what I wanted. So Nick was able to make the change that she needed right then and still get it signed off. So that was like Speedy Gonzalez right there. That was cool. And I know my catalogers will really appreciate that, Barbara. I know they've commented on that lack of search box on the advanced editor. So that was a great one. Any bugs or anything that people wanted to get feedback, input?
Not a bug really, but something I've gotten stuck on. Excuse me. See, I was uploading some records to the demo catalog. And in my theoretical library, there are some things that go out for a much shorter time than others. So I created a new item type called short loan and set up my records, I think, the way they should be. And I'm trying to upload, start out with 400 and tried to import. I got no errors when I was uploading, but import this batch into the catalog, which is nicely iambic pentameter. I just wish I could figure the rest of this on it. Anyway, stuck at 0. So I tried a quarter of those, 100. And if it was there maybe at 0 for half an hour, I uploaded one that worked. Other than cutting it in half and half and half until I find out the one record that's holding things up. Does anyone have any suggestions?
Have you tried validating the records in MarcEdit just to see if there's anything popping up there? You're muted, right?
Yes, I am. Sorry. I saw some problems in MarcEdit, but they did not appear to be ones that would crash the whole thing. But I'll go to MarcEdit again. Heather, I may end up emailing you a Mark file.
In MarcEdit, sometimes I've looked at files and I don't see anything wrong with them. And then I run them through the validator and I tell it to remove the bad records, and it removes 0 records, and then it works. So I don't know what it is, whether there's something in there that I don't see, spaces, control characters, something that's not visible on the screen. Well, everybody moved all of a sudden. Oh, there you are. So that I would recommend what Jason suggests and try running the Mark validator
Okay.
and telling it to remove the bad files, and that way at least if MarcEdit is seeing something bad and it removes a file, you'll be able to tell what it is. And if it removes nothing, removing nothing might fix it too. So.
Thank you. I'll give it a try.
Any other bugs that people want to talk about, or?
I don't
This
have a
isn't a bug, but
Oh, go ahead, George.
are you going to talk about driver's licenses?
Nope.
Oh, I was going to mention that Christopher has been working on, mostly Christopher, a little bit me, have been working on some jQuery to scan the back of a driver's license and import all the data from a driver's license into Koha. We're working on it. He's done most of the work, but we've still come up with some weird things. But we worked on that a little bit yesterday. And I think things are progressing. So it would be really nice just to be able to scan the back of a license and have those driver's license fields populate. So.
Christopher, did you have something?
Yeah, and just to add to what George was saying, yeah, I'm hoping we can work around some things that we've run into on it. It works great for certain circumstances, and it's just a matter of working around different scanners, and now we're finding some slight differences with IDs that I just have to figure out a way around, but otherwise it's looking really good, and I'm hoping to demo that at the conference.
That's exciting.
But it's not necessarily a bug. I don't have a bug out there for it. I thought I might have recorded one a long time ago, but I don't see anything out there. So back in the day when, and I think I talked about this before and asked if anybody was interested, and I wanted to put the feelers out there again. Back in the day when we moved over to fines free with most of our libraries, one of the issues that we ran into is we no longer had, we have a, like in the past with fines, we had a checkout or circulation block if they had fines over $3. You know, that helped stop the patron in their tracks and talk with staff and get that resolved. With being fines free, they don't hit that unless it goes long overdue, so they're able to rack up lots of checkouts while things are overdue. And so there is a block, there is a switch to block circulation if they have anything overdue, and we turn that on. But the problem with that is you get somebody that's got like 5, 10, 15, 20, how many overdues, they bring them in, put them in the book drop, and then they come to check out something else, and you go to check those out. You have to unblock every single checkout that they do. So if they've got 50 new checkouts, you have to unblock every single one of them. And so we've asked Bywater for a quote on an enhancement so that you only have to override once during the session. Originally, when we got a quote, I think it was in the neighborhood of $5,000. We are revisiting that. That was over a year ago. We are revisiting that, and our new quote is $3,000 on that. So it's come down a bit. And I wanted to let people know, if you're interested in that enhancement and investing in that enhancement, please shoot me an email. Anybody that can help to fund that will help that move along much faster. You know, we've got some funds. We have to decide, you know, if we can afford the whole thing or not. But if anybody can help, that'll help it pass a lot quicker.
So we also are restricting our patrons when they have overdues, but instead of turning on that, if they have any overdues, they're restricted. We have set in the notices and slips that when the first overdue notice goes out a few days after, then they get an account restriction, which also I think only has to be overridden once as opposed to for each overdue item. And then we also use the batch checkout tool
Yeah.
so that we can do all of it, which also has its pitfalls because if people aren't paying attention, they might not notice if something like doesn't scan right or something and it comes up and says no barcode found for this or no item found for barcode, whatever. But
Right.
that's just other until you can get a development. Those might also be good options for you.
How are you doing it? Because we'd like to block people with, let's say, books that are 60 days overdue or more. And I went in and notices and slips. I think it was fourth notice or something. You can block it, checkouts. Is that the way you're doing it? Because I tried it and it's not working for me. And it could be because I added the rule and tried it with someone who already had something checked out and overdue. Is it retroactive?
Yeah, it is not retroactive. I don't
Okay.
believe. Because that was a thing where we had to have like a report for because we changed it, it had been longer and we bumped it down. And so we had to write a report that was like everybody in there and batch add a manual restriction. I think Bywater did that for us on a ticket, but yeah, you have to do it on the overdue notices / status triggers, do the restrict, and it only does any that are 10 or more days, or for us, it's currently at 10, because we were quarantining things and we haven't lowered it yet, but I think we're planning on lowering it to like 6, which was the grace period before for fines.
Lisette,
Yeah.
when you set a restriction, what
Mhm.
does the restriction actually say? Because I don't see anything that says how to define what the restriction says.
I think it just says added by overdue
Okay.
processes.
Yeah, we do the same thing with our fine-free libraries, and it's just it says overdues restriction added by overdues process or something like that.
Okay, I'll try that in my backup system.
One thing you could do to test it too is you could set it to like 1 day, check out an item, and then in 2 days, check and see if the patron's restricted. There might also be a cron job related to it that has to be set up, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to try. One of my dogs has a book checked out and she's listed as library staff, so it won't really affect anyone. I also have a hold that cannot be removed, and it gives that error message about duplicate ID. I looked up the way to solve that, but it looks really complicated.
Yeah, I think you have to get into the SQL tables for that because it means
Yeah.
that something got duplicated and Koha doesn't know how to handle it very well. So you have to go in and delete one of the entries.
Okay, well, that's why I have a backup. Because I'm going to break it, I'm sure. Thanks.
Yeah, I ran into that on my test server. I think if you go to the about page, Fred, it'll tell you exactly which ones are wrong and need, or which ones are duplicated and need.
Okay. Oh, and by the way, you know how it always says contact the webmaster at no address given? You have to set that in Ubuntu. You know, maybe I'll include that in my talk.
Rhonda, if you're talking, you're muted. I see your mouth moving.
Thank you, Jason. You're right. I had a bug that I wanted to talk about and I can't find the bug number on my desk, so I'm madly searching for it, but so.
While you do that, so I've been skimming through the upgrade notes for the next 2 versions. And I put together a little presentation because I had a meeting last week for my people. So I can share what I've dug out. It is sort of consortium centric, so I'll apologize for that in advance, but let me share my screen. And this is just stuff that we're excited for. It's not everything by any means. But can you see my slideshow here? It's nodding. Okay, so one of the big things coming in the upgrade is lots of accessibility improvements, which are always great. It looks like Owen's been doing a lot of work on that in that department to make things work better with screen readers, which excited about that. And it looks like that work is ongoing. One thing that we're super excited about is it's going to tell you when a transfer completes now. Currently, it just says item was not checked out when you're completing a transfer, and that confuses my new librarians 100% of the time. So it looks like I mocked this up based on these are dramatic reenactments, so it might not look exactly like this, but it looks like it's going to list item received from like library when you check in a transfer. So it's actually showing the completion there. And it was also in the notes, they noted that the transfer functionality is going to be, or was like completely revamped. There's a lot more tracking on transfers, and transfers do a lot more things. So that may be I put, again, this was the slideshow for our people, so that may be affecting our stats at the end of the year. But it looks like overall a good improvement. Another consortia thing that we're excited about is the suggestions pending approval is going to list how many each library has now. Right now, it just has a number, and my libraries have to click on the link to see how many are for them. After the upgrade, it should show their library's name, a number, and then all libraries and the number, and they can click on either one of those. So that's exciting usability. Another big one is grouping item or circulation rules by item type. For us, that means right now we have like 2 separate circ rules for visual media because we also have a new and a not new. So it sounds like in the upgrade, we'll be able to group those under one overarching umbrella, which will give us more control over the circ rules. Hold cancellation seems like a big deal coming up. You're able to designate a reason why the hold was canceled from an authorized value list. And then if you do so, it can send a notification to the patron why the hold was canceled. And I think that's going to be like a good thing for us. I don't have a list here, but I think the hold histories are also being added to the OPAC, so patrons can look through their hold history when they're logged into their account, which also means they'll be able to see the reasons there. This is one that we paid for, which is adding the checkout library on the fines table, so we can associate where the item was checked out when the fine was accrued, so that we know which library was owed to, which is a problem we've had for years. And that's it. That's my quick short demo of what I found exciting in the release notes so far.
One thing I'm very excited for is the like damage statuses are going to show on the check-in screen now. That's something we've been wanting for a long time. So if you check an item in and it's like marked as in Mendon, it'll show up under the title, just like on the details screen for an item. It shows up under the title what status it's in red. And we'll probably use some jQuery to like really make that pop. We've done that for some shelving locations on the check-in screen, just so that it's really noticeable to our staff. And we're very excited for that because we use, like when we do completed Mendon, we have to go look at each item record and then check everything in to update the last seen date. But if we can just check it all in and then just fix anything that's got the wrong status and check it in again, that'll save us a lot of time.
Jason, your differentiation between video and new video. Am I correct in thinking that right now the only way to set circulation rules, which I'm trying to do in the demo, is by item type, or have I missed something and you can do it by collection code? Or
No, that it's just item type. Those are the item types we use. So we use visual media and new visual media for our movies, DVDs, that kind of thing.
okay,
So you do item type patron combinations. That's all you can do circles by at this point. Did that give you enough time to find your bug, Rhonda?
I'm closer. So this bug is, I'll just tell you what it is the ability to set the hold waiting period per branch. So that, you know, at one branch, you know, if they want to have 7 days, you know, the book sitting on the shelf for 7 days, great. But over here, they only want it for 3 days. They could set it separately for that. So
Would
there's a
that
bug
be-
out there. I'm sorry?
Would that be from the owning library or the issuing library, or how would that be designated?
It would be designated by the, I forgot. Our situation, we've got hold lockers. And we don't want, you know, inside the library, we will let stuff sit on the shelf for 7 days. We only have like 24 hold lockers. So we want stuff to move faster through that. So we would like to set that for just 3 days. So our other branch really doesn't own anything.
Really, I've only spent 104 with ARPA.
Okay. Okay, and so that would be a definite consideration. What would make more sense to you, Christopher?
What would make more sense is that it kind of fall in suit with everything else, where you can tell it how it's going to be designated, if it's going to be designated by the owning library or the issuing library. I think there's like at least three ways you can set most circulation rules.
Okay. Yeah, so
as long as it falls in suit with that, I think that would be great.
Yeah, the options for like item home library or item holding library would be good there, I would say.
okay. So it looks like, ooh, this is bug 8367. So anybody that knows anything about koha bugs knows that's an oldie but a goldie. 2012 reported. I tried to sign off on the fix that they had, but it didn't do what the test plan said it was going to do. So I had to fail it. This goes on for pages. So if anybody wants to give input into that one, that would be fantastic. Get that one going. Because I'm guessing that would be useful for anybody with hold lockers, or, you know, just giving your branches more autonomy in how long they want stuff sitting on their hold shelves. So you can comment on that one or do whatever, that would be great. Okay. Any other bugs? Or we are pretty much out of time.
I wanted to say one thing real quick. My name's Jeremy Skinner. I live in Oregon on the Southern Oregon coast. And this is my first time I've ever been on one of these. Bywater encouraged me to do this. I am hunting for a cataloging consultant to work on some cataloging protocols. We have 15 libraries in our network that are all doing things different ways, and we've decided we need to fix that mess. And so I just wanted to reach out. I've got grant funding to pay a consultant to just meet virtually with our catalogers and look at our records and try to put together some protocols that everybody can follow, and then provide some training afterwards. But I have not had any takers on that. So if anybody does know anyone who might be interested in something like that, I would really, really love the help. And I'm in the chat right now. I dropped a link to the request for proposals for that, and it's got, the dates are wrong because they're outdated, because we just don't have anybody that's followed up on that. But I appreciate any help anybody could give me on that.
Is our special interest group consortium, special interest group still meeting, or was that suspended?
That was suspended, but we still have our mailing list. We just weren't getting enough people coming to the meetings regularly. So at the last one, which like 4 of us showed up to, and I think it was the biggest one that we'd had, we said we would meet at the conference, and if someone had something they wanted to talk about, we could do a meeting. But because we pretty much were just, it was like the same few of us showing up when we could make it. Talking about the same things. So
Jeremy, I think I think this is a great place to reach out. I'm hoping that there would be a consortium out there that would hear your request, and I would suggest maybe if you can connect with a consortium, and not necessarily their catalogers, but just their consortium, and see how the consortium has ironed those things out between the libraries. I mean, there are a lot of successful consortiums in Koha, and if there's one out there, I can't speak necessarily for any of them, but if there's one out there that works well and wants to sit with you and your catalogers online and share what they've done, I think that's a great way to get started. You can at least find out what some other consortiums are doing within a shared system, and you can pick and choose, decide, oh well, I like the way this consortium is working out, let's see, get a closer look at their model and follow suit. So,
I would also urge you to show up at the next cataloging SIG group chaired by Heather. I am not a real cataloger, and I don't have the energy to take anything on anyway. Heather works for US government, probably can't take on outside work, but you may meet some catalogers who could help you. And if not, just show you're not alone. Oh, and welcome.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Yeah, it's interesting. Our libraries are most of them don't have professional catalogers. I think we've got 2 or 3 in the entire network. And so, when there's turnover in those people that are doing the work, just stuff gets lost so fast. And our records are not great. So we're trying to tighten the screws on that.
Yeah, the biggest challenge, when you don't have professional catalogers is you need to establish rules within the consortium, the group, this is what we do, and this is how you have to catalog if you're going to put anything in the system, and really stick to your guns on that. So whether they're a cataloger or not.
Yeah, we were sort of hoping that once we got this project done, the next step would be putting in a quality control czar. But this, we had to get past this point first. So.
Okay. All right. Thanks. Welcome, Jeremy. That's great. And we're a couple minutes over time, so I want to respect everybody's time. And we will see all of you either virtually or in person next month at McKinney at the conference. Looking forward to it. Very excited. Don't forget to get your swag. And you don't have to get it in yellow. I just love yellow, so I get everything in yellow, but there's other colors. So if the yellow scares you, it's okay. It's all right. So we'll see you all next month, and have a good day and week. See y'all. And all the conference committee people stay for the conference committee.